Menace. We're a comedy news podcast bringing you the latest and greatest hits from back inside once again. My name's Chris Bolson.
And I'm Alison Hoare.
We, before everything goes back into lockdown, decided to go outside, really make the most of our newfound freedom. We haven't had it in many moons.
Sure. The fact that we're allowed to freely go outside and do what we like.
It was pretty crazy. It was the first time I'd been on an outing in literal months.
Yeah.
We went to the Lane Cove National Park, I believe.
Sure, somewhere around that area.
There was trees and things. It was near Lane Cove.
There was, yeah. It was near my house, which is the most important part. Because usually we go to Chris's house and I have to take a bus and then a train, sometimes two trains.
That's the other reason I haven't been on an outing in many months, is because everyone always comes to my house for some reason.
Exactly.
It's because I got a cute little cat.
And you have subscriptions to probably all the television streaming services.
Yes, I'm very fiscally responsible.
Sure.
But what did we find when we were out exploring the great wilderness, Alison?
We did find an asbestos forest, which
I think we found the asbestos forest.
You show up, like, you're just on a walk, right, and you show up to a sign and it says, please do not cross here, there may be asbestos. But also, you kind of see that lots of people have crossed there, and you're like, well,
no. Let's say what happened was we went up to the sign that says, do not go past here, there's asbestos, you will die. And then Alison said, I'm sure we can go a bit further than this.
Yeah.
So we proceeded to walk down this sort of like rickety path that looked like the set out of the TV show Chernobyl.
Sure.
And then we got to the other end and we saw a sign facing the opposite direction that said, don't go past this way, this is the asbestos zone.
So we're like, well, we just walked right through the asbestos zone.
So yeah, we had unintentionally just gone through the entire asbestos zone.
Right. We did, but it is what it is, Chris. It is what it is.
Yeah, and I am now going to die at 45, but, who cares?
What difference will it make then?
That's the fucking point, man.
It's like, asbestos is a carcinogenic, but I'm pretty sure most of my everyday life is a carcinogenic.
I'm pretty sure life is a carcinogenic, man. But then we found a dilapidated old boat shed.
Right.
That was pretty cool.
It was pretty cool. And I felt like a cool youth teen hanging around a dilapidated boat shed, except for the fact that there was like a really small gap, and because I decided it would be a good idea to go bushwalking in rubber sandals.
Yes.
Which is always a good idea.
And I will protest as well that the bushwalking was your suggestion.
Yeah, it was. But here's the thing, most of it was fine in rubber sandals. I was like finessing those hills like a gazelle, like a mountain goat, just traversing the cliffs in my rubber sandals, you know how it is.
You were basically doing full-on parkour. Like, let's not undersell
absolutely.
it here.
Except for when I got, like, over the water, and I did have my mobile phone in my bag, and I'm kind of like, I don't really want to slip into the water with my mobile phone in my bag with my rubber sandals.
You went from being a gazelle prancing in the fields to a gazelle in front of a moving truck in terms of mood.
Exactly. I'm like, this probably isn't ideal. If I go in the water, I won't be broken, but my phone will.
But it was a pretty cool little shed. You really got
good.
the sense that a lot of vodka cruisers had been drunk there over the years.
A lot of UDLs, perhaps.
A lot of UDLs. A lot of people had, gone round the corner to make out with their boyfriends.
Yeah. A lot of oregano has been smoked there,
A lot of oregano.
It's sold to them as weed, but they're teens. It's just oregano. They won't know the difference.
When I want to light one up, what I like to do is I just go down to the herb section at Woolworths and I buy myself a nice little bit of oregano, nice little bit of little bit of basil.
Yeah.
Just anything green. If you're feeling real crazy, what I like to do is you need to have a cheese grater for this, but just get some asparagus and just kind of grate that up.
Grate it into little pieces.
Yeah, then
yummy.
Leave that in. I mean, you can put it in the oven; it'll dry it out pretty quick. But if you want the good shit, you leave it in the sun for a week.
Oh, sun-dried asparagus gratings.
Sun-dried
Perfect.
asparagus gratings. Then put that in your pipe and smoke it, and you will feel kind of odd.
You'll feel kind of sick because the,
A bit
the
sick.
smoke
But,
is a little bit shit, but
but that's what's pretty cool nowadays. All these, like, back in the fucking boomers talking about the drugs that they do, being like, oh, it makes you, like, see stars and stuff. I'm like, I just want to feel slightly nauseous. Is that
yeah, I
so
just want
much
to
to
feel
ask?
a little bit sick. That's
I
kind
just
of my
want to
goal
feel
here.
something.
Yeah,
Other-
feeling a little bit sick is more than I feel at the moment. I want to feel something other than the existential dread of COVID-induced unemployment, Chris. So a little bit nauseous from smoking
Smoking a dried asparagus shavings.
sun-dried asparagus shavings, mind you.
Another really good one is you get spinach. You have to boil the spinach first, so it then like shrivels up, and
Right.
then sun-dry that.
Ooh, sun-dried
Then-
boiled spinach.
Then put that in a blender so it gets like nice and little shaved. Or if you're feeling
Yeah.
pretty cool again, just put it right back on that cheese grater. The
Sure.
cheese grater is so important for making homemade smokables.
Smokables.
Homemade smokables. This is a new business, I think.
Oh, God. Well, I need a business idea.
I'm going to see if TeePublic can start selling just sort of like bags of herbs, like completely legal cooking herbs.
Just, well, exactly. What we can do, Chris, is we can start a multi-level marketing, like a multi-level distribution scheme. So we don't actually do any of the sales. We recruit people to 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 recruit
Yes.
people to recruit people.
And we can also push
recruit
those
people.
people to come up with like their own unique blends, of which we
Right.
obviously take 30% off the top
well,
of
we
everything.
we take 100% of
We
sales.
take all.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just a competition. If you do it, you can get a tote bag with the company logo on it.
And you're only allowed to join our company if you've never smoked weed before, because
Right.
that's not. We don't want those fucking losers.
Exactly. And the other thing is, with
We
our
only want
company,
the cool new shit.
is that if you want to become a distributor, you have to buy an $800 starter pack, which has 4 samples in it, that you can sell to your friends for $200 each.
It also has a rhino horn pipe. That's just something that we think everybody should have. We have our own poachers. It's very ethical, obviously.
Well, this is probably the most generous multi-level marketing scheme there is. If we're giving people rhino horns.
all of the rhino horn, all the rhinos were rescues, so it's okay.
Shit.
Do you have a story for me, please, Alison?
What do we want to start, Chris? Well, we did kind of allude to the fact that the corona's back a little bit. Hey, but not
That's
really.
what
Not really in
that's-
Sydney. In
That's
Melbourne,
what I've heard.
mostly.
I haven't seen any corona around Sydney, but
No.
I've definitely. My sister's seen loads of corona, so.
But with the corona coming back, it also means that the toilet paper scarcity is coming
that
back.
shit I have seen. That I have seen.
Is
I
it
went
in
to
Sydney as well? That people
I went
are...
to Woolworths yesterday
Oh my
because I
God.
thought my butt's feeling a little bit dirty, and I was like, well, I guess it's got to stay that way because all the toilet paper is gone.
Well, do you know what? Last time we ran out of toilet paper in my household, there was no communication. So Rebecca bought a packet of toilet paper, and I also bought a packet of toilet paper. So now we have unintentionally stockpiled toilet paper for the coronavirus crisis re-emergence.
I like the idea that you two are accidentally becoming preppers.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna, you're both gonna independently build bunkers.
Yeah,
Underneath your
exactly,
apartment.
exactly. And then I'll be like, "Oh, Rebecca, I just built a bunker in case we need it." And she'll be like, "Oh shit, I built a bunker too." Like, okay, well now there's 2 bunkers.
I bought a mountain of canned food. It's so nice of you.
Oh, well, I built like a trench of canned food. So, damn. Anyway,
That's more practical given the bunker setup.
so I'm just going to jump into this article a little bit on 9 News, but I'm not going to focus too much on that, just to set the scene for our, re-emergence into Corona.
Okay.
It says Coles Woolworths reintroduce toilet paper limits nationwide. Follow-up point, nationwide, considering half the country hasn't had a coronavirus case in like a month.
Yeah, but
It's-
it's like when someone
isn't
gets
it
in
extreme?
trouble in your class
Oh
in
my
school and they're like, well, everybody has to stay late
I
now.
hate that, Chris.
It's the Full Metal Jacket shit.
Yeah, when one of the students plays up and the teacher's like, okay, everyone's staying for lunchtime detention.
You're like, everyone has to be
You're like,
punished.
what
And
the
then
fuck,
they take Kevin,
teacher?
who was talking too loud, out behind the sheds and beat him up, which is what the teacher is intending here. They
Yeah.
want Kevin to be punished.
Yeah, they want all the basically, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to incite student upon student violence because they can't whack the students themselves.
No. I joke saying it's like Full Metal Jacket, but it is like Full Metal Jacket.
It's not ideal. Coles and Woolworths supermarkets are reintroducing toilet paper limits nationwide in an effort to curb a surge in panic buying. Woolworths said customers would be allowed to buy 2 packets of toilet paper and 2 packets of paper towels nationwide. Woolworths Supermarkets Managing Director Claire Peters said the move was precautionary. We've regrettably started to see elevated demand for toilet roll move outside Victoria in the past 24 hours.
Oh, I
Chris,
love the phrasing of that very much.
have we not learned our lesson as a nation?
Alison, you must have more faith in people than I do, because I don't think we, as a species, let alone a nation, are capable of learning a lesson.
Right.
I don't think that's how people work.
We've been through this embarrassment of toilet paper hoarding for some reason, and it's back, and I'm really baffled.
Do you think if you tried to plead your case to Woolworths that you were like in special need, like if I went to Woolworths and I was like, I shit my pants, do you think they'd be like, oh God, no, we've got to get this guy something at least?
You're like, I have chronic diarrhea and I'm going to poo all over
if
the
I say I did a doo-doo in my diaper, will they give me...
You'll probably call the police if you said that, Chris. As a grown man.
I mean, that's fair.
No shame to any adult diaper lovers who are listening to actually a little bit of shame if that's your...
If I just go up to the Woolworths staff member and then I say I'd like to speak to the manager, and then I say to the manager, I made a smell mess. Can you please help?
I would call the police, Chris. I would get you out of the store quick smart.
Well, I'm sure at the police station they have toilet paper. So
well, that's true. Maybe
set.
in the prison you'll have toilet paper. While the demand is not at the same level as Victoria, we're taking preventative action now to get ahead of any excessive buying this weekend and help maintain social distancing in our stores.
Okay, so they don't want a TP stampede.
No, exactly. They want to avoid that situation. Coles said in a statement customers would be limited to 1 pack of toilet paper and 1 pack of paper towels each, effective immediately.
Stingy much, Coles?
Yeah, Woolworths is giving us 2 packs.
Woolworths is you're like a cool uncle who says you can have 2 chocolates after dinner.
Right, exactly. He gives you one with your mum looking, and then he slips you another one in the table when your mum turns her back, you know.
And when you're 17, he offers you weed, and then it's all downhill from there.
And then you realise that maybe your cool uncle was not really that cool all along, because he's kind of...
Maybe smoking kills.
You know,
maybe.
when you're like a child, it's like, oh, sweet, he lives in a cool basement room in a racing car bed. You say about your cool uncle. And then, well, when you grow up, you're like, well, actually, he's living in my grandparents' basement in a racing car bed. That's pretty sad.
Well, I think that everything that's child cool becomes, like, deeply sad as an adult. But I think the opposite is true as well. Like, if I go to IKEA and I'm like, oh my God, look at this fucking awesome shelf that has, like, all the cool parts and boxes.
Exactly.
And all the other adults are like, damn, that's a good shelf.
That's a sweet shelf.
Is like,
exactly.
And the child is like, I want to beat you up for what you're saying.
The child is like, I want my Hot Wheels.
Why don't you get a car shelf?
Why don't you get a Hot Wheels track for Hot Wheels cars?
Why do you even need a shelf? Why don't we just keep all the toys on the floor?
Why don't we just put the Hot Wheels in the middle of an empty field? We don't need a house, Dad.
Why don't we just live in a monster truck, Dad? Like, that would be... It's big enough. It would be fine.
A monster truck filled with Hot Wheels.
Elsa, I feel like you're getting very into this Hot Wheels concept specifically.
I wasn't allowed to have Hot Wheels cars when I was a child, Chris. I was a girl.
Okay, so now the truth comes out.
I didn't get Hot Wheels cars. And you know what? They're pretty sweet, those little cars.
Damn, gender essentialism strikes again.
They're pretty sick. And you know those little miniature skateboard things that you ride with your fingers?
Oh, your little tech deck sort of things.
Tech decks. Yes, I remember, I always wanted a tech deck because they looked pretty sweet. Like, everyone doing kick flips in class on their fingers on their tech decks. Like, that's sweet, Chris. That's cool stuff. Then at McDonald's, they had a Happy Meal that had a Barbie tech deck that came with it, and it was really bad. But I felt like a cool, sweet kid with my Barbie tech deck.
Alison, can I tell you something that's going to make you violently angry?
What?
When I was a kid, because I was a boy, I
Yeah.
did get access to the Hot Wheels.
You
and
did get a Hot Wheels car. Okay.
I did get a Hot Wheels car, but you know what? Didn't care for them. I took them for granted. I was more into.
You took off.
I was more into trains, so I didn't.
Oh yeah, I see. Right.
I didn't see what I had and how good I
See,
had.
you were like a numbtot from the early age of childhood. You were like, fuck cars, they're killing the environment. We need mass transit, was what you were
I've
thinking.
been an environmentalist since birth. I think we should replace all of the Sydney trains with Thomas the Tank Engine trains.
But that would be cool. That would be sweet.
Be fucking sick. They all have faces and they talk and they're horrifying. I love them.
Anyway, I'm just going to read the last little bit of this story. The limits will apply to all Coles and Coles Express stores across the country. Other product limits were introduced in Coles supermarkets in Victoria and on the New South Wales border earlier this week. Customers there are limited to no more than 2 packets of flour, sugar, hand sanitizer, pasta, mince, UHT milk. I guess that's the... milk, eggs,
That's how
or
it
rice.
always comes out in my head. It always sounds like...
We ask that customers continue to shop normally so that everyone can have access
So
to the
we can
food and
keep having
groceries
money,
they
please.
need.
Please, don't stop the money train. I need it.
Don't stop the cash flow.
I've nearly paid off the yacht. Please.
Oh, God.
I need to
Okay.
escape, you poor, poor animals.
I'm going to read this last little bit. Miss Peters said Woolworths has ordered 650,000 additional rolls of toilet paper into the supermarket network, an increase of 30% compared to the usual amount.
Woolworths, there's 24 million people in this country. I hate to break it to you. That shit ain't gonna cut it. You're gonna need to, multiply that by 10.
Right. We have plenty of stock for all of us, so we encourage our customers to buy only what they need and think of others in the community as they shop this weekend, she said.
We're all gonna fucking die.
If customers already have enough toilet roll at home, there is no need to buy more. The sooner we see buying patterns return to normal levels, as was the case throughout May and most of June, Christopher,
Once you
the
start
quicker
being
we'll be
good,
able to wind back limits.
once you start behaving yourselves again, then we will let you play with the toilet paper again.
Once you can be trusted to buy toilet paper like a rational human being, then you'll be allowed to have as much as you like again.
I managed to go the whole way through Roni round 1 without having to wipe my ass with a paper towel specifically. I
Well,
definitely,
that's pretty good. Yeah.
definitely used some baby wipes and tissues, but paper towels just seem so inhospitable to me.
I feel like tissues are a lot more comfortable because it's
There's just
designed for the face.
there's an almost aggressive level of roughness on a paper towel that I just don't care for.
That's kind of the purpose of paper towels.
I
They're
just
not
think that
intended
anything,
for the butt flesh.
yeah, anything that's intended to clean muck off inanimate objects should not be used on your asshole. I just
No,
think that's,
it's generally.
I don't think that's a hot take.
I don't know. It depends who you ask. It could be a hot take. And that's all there is. Just if you're from Australia and you're listening to this, please just buy toilet paper like a rational human being, so that we don't become a laughing stock of the world again.
We will.
We will. We will become. We're already a laughing stock of the world. What can I say?
Okay, let me find a story. This is a story sent to us by listener Elroy Belroy. Thank you, Elroy Belroy.
Thank you.
This is from your favourite publication, unilad.com.
Oh, fucking love Unilad.
They just told me they value my privacy, which I doubt.
They're selling every scrap of your data. Probably directly to a fascist regime somewhere.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that this article written by Emma Rose Murgy is taking my home address and phone number and sending them directly to both Putin and Amazon.
Exactly.
Headline is, The Weeknd is the most listened to artist for having sex. Study confirms. Some people...
Okay, right. Is this... okay, you read the story. Read the story.
Some people like lighting candles, while others prefer to indulge in an aphrodisiac. But most of us, it seems, are listening to a bit of The Weeknd while we do the no pants dance. Yep, I think everyone would agree that the right playlist is an essential part of creating the perfect atmosphere for a bit of the four-legged foxtrot.
Oh, Jesus Christ. How many euphemisms for sex are they going to use in this article?
I think you should start a count.
Right,
so
hang
two
on.
so far.
Right, I'm just going to grab my pen, because I'm old school.
Just do, take a, what's it where you draw the 4 lines and then the 1 through, and that's
tally,
5?
a tally.
A tally, there we go.
So I've got a running tally so far. So there's 2. Keep
I
going.
can see in the future my mum giving me a hard time because I couldn't remember what a tally was after she's listened to this.
Look, we've had worse moments as far as our level of general knowledge and worldliness has been
That's
demonstrated. So I've got two tallies here, Chris. Would you
Yep.
like to continue?
And it turns out The Weeknd has taken the top spot for the artist people most enjoy having sex to.
Well, they just used the straight up word having sex there, so that's I'm not going to count.
No, it doesn't
that,
count.
no.
I mean, what a career achievement. Hands up. Who's been getting down and dirty while that's one. While performing an up close and personal rendition of The Weeknd's "I Feel It Coming"?
I feel like there's 2 there.
Yeah, that's that one was creative. I'll give them that.
So actually, I feel like because there was up close and personal, that's probably sex. And then there's the...
Well, they said down and dirty, and then they made the "I Feel It Coming" joke.
Yeah, they said down and dirty, up close and personal, I feel it coming. I feel like I'm going to give 3 points.
Okay.
3 points there.
Unsurprisingly, The Weeknd is in good company with Trey Songz, Usher, Drake. I can't imagine having sex to a Drake song. He's so profoundly unsexy a human being.
Each to their own, Chris. Each to their own.
And the birthday sex king Jeremiah joining him in the top 5 artists for making love to.
That counts, but it's basic.
Yeah. In 6th place is the top reigning female, Bad Gal Riri, followed closely by Beyonce, Miguel, 2 Feet, and Party Next Door. Don't know who 2 Feet is.
I don't know. Yeah.
However, it seems as though The Weeknd just can't help but get those sexual juices flowing.
Christ.
As the 30-year-old also ranked as the top artist whose music is great to masturbate to.
Okay.
Which I did not know was a thing.
No.
I didn't know people had a soundtrack for that.
There you go.
Again, there's got to be some kind of trophy for that. Then they've got a screenshot from the award-winning film 50 Shades of Grey.
Of course.
Perhaps anyone who has ever seen 50 Shades of Grey, admit it, we all have. I actually haven't seen it. I've only seen the 3rd one.
I have not seen any of that franchise, but I have watched a lot of YouTube video hot takes about it, so...
I respect that.
I feel like it's basically the same thing.
We'll forever associate The Weeknd with the soundtrack title Earned It and all the naughty goings-on of Mr. Grey and Anastasia Steele.
Oh, God.
That's one.
Can I just say, I feel like this soundtrack is very straight. I don't know.
Oh, fully, yes. This is an extremely aggressively
heterosexual soundtrack that's happening for these people's fornication.
Well, to be fair, 50 Shades is an aggressively hetero movie.
It is.
So,
And let's probably put the right emphasis on aggressive there.
Oh, yeah, I mean, yeah.
It's not ideal. Anyway, let's continue.
The list, which features the results from a survey of Spotify users by lingerie brand Pour Moi, found that people love...
Okay,
Oh,
right.
Alison, you're going to love this. Found that people also love doing the 5-finger knuckle shuffle.
Oh, God.
Or the ménage à moi. So that's 2.
Yeah, that's 2. Well, so far I'm on 8 in this tally.
To Divinals, Post Malone, and Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Well, Chris, everything that I said before about this being aggressively straight has been incredibly confirmed by the presence of the Red Hot Chili Peppers on that list.
I will provide one final, and also the 17th century German composer Johann Sebastian Bach, which I've never thought of, but now I kind of want to do.
Well, I
kind of want to give that one a try.
Sure.
I think that out of all the people
You're gonna make it a little bit classy, hey.
Out of all the people in this list, Bach is the hottest. Like, let's be real. I hope Bach wasn't actually like a Nazi or something. I hope I don't.
Well, he was pre-Nazi.
I'm just gonna Google quickly. Is Bach cancelled?
Is Bach cancelled? Which reminds us of our business proposition that we came up with yesterday. A website that you just put in the artist's name and it tells you whether or not they have been cancelled.
As far as I can tell, based on my extremely cursory Google search, Bach has not been cancelled, so that's very exciting for me. It just gave me a lot of articles about the 2021 Olympics or something being cancelled. And then the article says, what a fucking lineup, literally. So that's another one. Meanwhile, the most popular individual songs for Lust and Thrust are Riri's Sex With Me, no prizes for figuring that one out, and I Touch Myself by Divinals. Come on, guys.
Well, I mean, that's pretty... you could be more creative, guys.
Come on, guys. Let's get a little more creative next time.
Well,
At the end of the day, you've got to do whatever you've got to do to help you along the way to Pleasure Town. You do you bunch of horn dogs.
Okay, well, I'm giving Pleasure Town a little... Yeah.
So what does that come to? What does that come to? Can we add my one as...
I don't think that counts, really. Unless you're now going to work for Unilad, in which case I would say I'll count that.
I would fucking love to, but, this is the industry we work in.
This is where the hot dollars are now. It does come to 10 tally marks that I have gotten throughout that story.
Emma did a pretty good job, I think, of... Some of them were pretty creative. I think my favourite was Five Finger Knuckle Shuffle. That one I enjoyed a lot.
So there's to keep up their articles, there's only so many times they can use the S word.
Yes.
The word that's spelled S-E-X.
I feel like they only used it like 3 times. I was quite impressed.
So they were like, we have to come up with as many ways as possible to say sex without saying sex. Otherwise, the SEO will be all over the place.
My favourite one was that when they used the F word, they bleeped it.
It's all about the SEO, Chris. All about the SEO.
I'm just trying to think of like what my choice of song would be, and I think it might be "Take on Me," just because that has like the level of like drama and extraness that I think we should all strive for.
Fair enough. Oh dear.
Do you have a story for me, please, Alice?
I do have a story. Let's go into here. Okay, there's lots of stories that I've got here. I'm just going to find which one I like the most, Chris. Do we want a really dumb story?
A really dumb story?
Really, like, stupid story that's like, why is this a news story?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, wonderful. There's like these days, there's a specific brand of news story, which is literally just... and I guess in the age of digital media, people have got to do what they've got to do to find a story, right? And sometimes that literally just means someone went onto, like, the Kmart Mums Facebook group and saw someone post about anything, literally anything, on the Kmart Mums Facebook group. And are like, this might be news.
Okay. Why don't we do that, Alison? Why don't I go on to some really fucking obscure subreddit and then be like... Huge controversy. The music Bach is cancelled because one person said they didn't like Bach very much anymore.
Exactly.
And then that gets a bajillion
that's
clicks.
That's essentially what this news story is. It comes very much from that brand of journalism, which is go into a random Facebook page, find literally any post that has a lot of likes on it, and that's news.
Yeah, I mean, I respect the hustle. You got to do... Sometimes... All the things that happen in the world are depressing and bad. So if you can find something good on the Kmart Mums Facebook page, I can't begrudge you.
Now, to make it extra special, Chris, now let's say you are a news company and you're relying on those, like, branded... A news company. And you're relying on that branded sponsored content, like the native content, right?
Yes.
And so you have a particular... A brand's come to you and they say, hey, Christopher...
Also, can I say that the native content sounds like a really weird euphemism for some sort of specific colonial racism?
Yeah, well, it does. Anyway, but you've got a particular product, right? And someone's come to you and they're like, hey, Christopher, can you advertise this product in a news story, but make it look like it's news? And you're like, well, your product's pretty lame. How can I make this into news? So then you go onto the Kmart Mums Facebook page and you find a Kmart mum has somewhere on the page, made a post about that. Now that is your native content news for your news company website, Christopher.
Hell yeah.
If you need someone to do native content, people, clearly I know your tactic, so give me a job. I'll do this. I'm not above this.
Please.
I implore you.
Literally begging.
So anyway, this is one that was sent to me actually by my friend in a Facebook group chat that we've got, and it says, well, she said that this is quality news, is what she said, and frankly, I agree. It's very quality, very smooth, very not obviously sponsored content.
I'm so excited.
And so this is from 7 News, from the food section, and it says, shoppers' rude discovery in pack of potato bites.
Okay.
Now, I'm going to read the first line and tell me if you think this is sponsored content or not, based on this first paragraph, Chris. Mm-hmm. Give me your opinion on that. It's the new freezer item that's creating huge buzz among Coles supermarket customers. The store has released McCain TM emoji bites mashed potato shapes in the frozen section, and the launch has sparked an excited response on Facebook.
Assholes. Nobody even liked the Emoji Movie. That was a sign to not.
So, firstly, is it sponsored content?
I am getting major press release vibes.
Oh, God. Anytime people are using, like, the full name of a product and it's a very long product name, I'm like, it gives me sponsored content vibes. But also, potato emojis. Okay. It's a thing.
I didn't know there was a potato emoji, but I'll take their words for it.
Well, it's all emoji. It's all potato smileys in the shape of different emojis, not just smiley faces.
Okay, so did someone find the shit emoji? Is that what the whole story is?
Well, Chris, it's even better than that. It's even more exciting news than that.
Whoa. Did someone find the characters by which they were able to spell out the N-word out of just, like, potato emojis?
I mean, look, that might be more worthy of a story than this. But one shopper has spotted a humorous discovery in one batch of the emoji-shaped mashed potato shapes. I do like that they've got that emoji-shaped mashed potato shapes because McCain's has asked them to include that in there so that customers are aware of what the products are.
I feel like they've written the whole title more than once.
Yeah, they probably have. And the rude find has left many tickled pink, Christopher. Mum Tiana shared a snap of the new food find on popular Facebook page, and it wasn't long before many noticed that the thumbs up potato bite looks a little bit like a middle finger.
Holy fucking shit.
Is that a rude finger?
No,
asked one shopper on the Mums Who Budget and Save
give
page.
Me a second, Alison. I need to process. I should have trusted you. I should have trusted you. How stupid this was going to be. Oh, my
But
God.
you still didn't seem very prepared for just how dumb.
Oh, my God. I feel like I'm reading an article written by a Christian missionary who talked to a teenager for the first time ever, and they said piss to them. And, like, that's what upset them.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Fuck me, dude.
No, in reality, what's happened here, our McCains have come up to 7 News and were like, would you write some native content for some sweet dollar, some cash dollar? And then the journalist has been tasked with writing this, whose name I will not attach to this story.
Yeah, they don't deserve that heat.
They don't deserve that heat. They didn't. It wasn't their idea. They've been like, how can I make this news? So they have gone into this is the name of the Facebook page, Mums Who Budget and Save. They've gone to the Mums Who Budget and Save Facebook page to look at the picture of the McCain's potato bites and saw in the comments someone said, is that a rude finger? Asked one shopper. And then another customer asked...
What's cool is there is a rude finger emoji. Like, that exists. As...
Chris, it doesn't look like anything. It doesn't look like a thumb, and it doesn't look like a rude finger.
Do you think? I have an idea, which is I think it would be a fascinating social experiment if you exposed lots of old people who've never, like, they don't know what emojis are. They think they're like emotions or something like that. And you watch them naturally discover all of the various different implications of the emojis. Like, they get a peach-shaped potato bite, and one of them's like, I don't mean to be lewd, but I think this kind of looks like a tuchus.
I think this looks like a gluteus maximus.
Then someone's like, I got this one. I think it's supposed to be an eggplant, but when I look at it, all I can see is a big old beepus. Just a big old schlong.
A big old schlong. So,
I just think that would be
my.
a fascinating anthropological experiment.
Sure. But yeah, two shoppers said it looked like a thumbs up, but not just two, Chris. There was a third shopper. So I'm not the only one who did a double take at the thumbs up. Others thought it could be a good way of expressing a fed-up mum's feelings, Chris. I'm buying them for that gesture and the 13-year-old that caused me stress this week, said one mum. Another added, subliminal message to toddler, said one more. Wish you could get a bag full of just those.
I don't mean to stan eugenics, but I think we need a cleansing.
And this is it's attached another photo, also from the Mums Who Budget and Save Facebook page, and someone has literally just posted a pack of the McCain's emoji bites on a kind of dirty bench.
Love
with
that.
some other crap in the background, and it says not really a markdown, but they've brought back potato smiles, $4 in Coles.
I love that energy because that's like when you're on like a dating app, they send you like a sexy pic and all you can look at is just how messy their bedroom is.
You can see the woman in question. I assume it's a woman because it's Mums Who Budget and Save, but it could be a dad.
No, the only man on there is
parent.
Graham Linehan. He's the only man who goes on.
He's in the Mums Who
forums.
Budget and Save Facebook page. He's probably also in Kmart Mums Facebook page as well. That's probably where he gets a lot of his political opinions from.
Yeah.
A McCain spokesperson had told 7 News the company is excited about the new release of Emoji Bites. We're very pleased to be bringing smiling faces back into freezer aisle. With the launch of our new McCain Emoji Bites, the spokesperson said, thumbs up to those who have snagged a pack in the first week at Coles. TM. Shop at Coles.
I feel like we as a society don't give enough credit to the copywriters whose job it is to come up with this horse shit.
To the native... Here's my shout out, okay. If you're listening to this and you are a person who has to, shit out this crap of, sponsored content, native content writing for the website, you deserve a medal.
Yeah, honestly, good on you, because I guess someone has to do it.
Someone has to do it. Someone has to do it, and you know what? You made me read this story, journalist whose name I will not name, because you probably don't want this associated with you. I don't know. Let me have a look what other stories this journalist has written, Chris, before I give her too much credit.
Let's double check if they're
Chris,
cancelled.
there's a lot of sponsored content.
I guess everybody has a niche.
I guess this is what she has to do. This is some of the other headlines from this journalist. Aussie mum rates every oven hack with very surprising result.
Every oven hack?
This is Coles reinstate purchase limits, whatever. That's a story. Woolworths employee astounding act after hot pork roast stuff up.
So when they said that it was in the food section, it was really in the Coles and Woolworths.
Yeah.
So this person's
Chris,
on the
there's
Coles
more
and
than Coles and
Woolworths beat.
Woolworths. There's also Audi reveals real reason its air fry oven was withdrawn from sale.
I would love to go on a first date with someone who says in their bio, I'm a journalist. And I'm like, oh, I study journalism. What do you, write about? Do you write about, politics or, sport? And they'll be like, I'm actually on the supermarket beat.
And the thing is, it seems to be a very real news beat. There's a lot of supermarket content in our news
There seems to be a lot of supermarket content.
I feel like if we went back in our podcast history and we searched every supermarket story, we are doing a surprising amount of advertising for these bloody supermarkets.
Oh, fully. We won't do that because we'd have to listen to nearly 100 hours of our shit.
If you want to do that, if you're doing some kind of study about, SpawnCon, feel free to do that and let us know the results.
Make sure to download every single episode individually. Just sort of
Absolutely.
game those stats a little bit, baby.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And do leave a list of all the ones that we do be hypocrites in and do this kind of a SpawnCon. Second-hand SpawnCon, which is even better than original SpawnCon.
I'm gonna read you a headline and then I'll find an actual story. I don't think this headline has much of a story attached to it. I just really, really enjoy the headline, and I think you're going to enjoy it too.
Sure.
This is from popsugar.com, written by Caitlin Flynn. Experts explain why it isn't a good idea, or even safe, to vape melatonin.
Sorry?
You shouldn't be vaping melatonin.
Is that something that people are doing?
I guess I am going to read this story. For the third of American adults who report getting insufficient sleep, a natural sleep aid like melatonin may sound appealing. After all, it can be bought over the counter and isn't associated with addictive qualities or potentially risky side effects of other sleep medications. Now, melatonin is available in a variety of forms, including vape pens and diffusers combined with essential oils like lavender and chamomile.
Oh, God. Another MLM content there.
Before you order any of these products, it's important to be aware of the risks of vaping and long-term melatonin use.
Sure.
Jennifer Butler, MD, who specializes in sleep medicine at Piedmont Healthcare, told PopSugar that melatonin is no longer strongly recommended for treatment of chronic primary insomnia. Recent clinical studies investigating melatonin's overall efficacy in improving sleep onset, sleep maintenance, or sleep quality were poor, Dr. Butler said. If you have insomnia, she recommends seeking guidance from your physician or sleep clinician in order to get to the root cause. I have a hunch about this, Alison.
Yes.
And that's that the big pharma industry, they're not getting a cut of this melatonin vape, so they want to shut it right down.
You know, it's like one of those things, right, where the problem with, like, big pharma conspiracy people is that they're kind of slightly onto a point with, like, the pharmaceutical industry, especially in the United States, being a bit wild.
Just like objectively evil.
Objectively evil, but then instead of saying, hey, maybe we should, publicize the healthcare system, they go, hey, so instead of actually taking clinically tested things, how about we all drink lavender essential oil to cure our cancer instead? And you're like, well, hang on a second. You addressed a real issue there and then put on a really weird solution.
This isn't to say you should never take the supplement, assuming you've cleared it with your doctor. But experts do advise against vaping melatonin.
Sure.
Many take a supplement if they're having...
Yes.
But
Chris, my favourite YouTuber, says I should vape melatonin. Who should I listen to?
I have a hunch that I'm going to say you should vape melatonin at the end of this, so, do what you want. Many take a supplement if they are having trouble regulating this hormone in their own body, but research has not been done on consuming this in vapor form, says Rizwan Bashir, MD, a neurologist based in Atlanta. Hearing a lot from so-called medical doctors in this article.
What do the influencers say, though?
I'm just saying, if you have to say you're an MD, then I don't think I trust you.
What
you shouldn't
Pete
have to
Evans
say that
say,
to
Chris? That's what I want to know. I want to know what a TV celebrity chef would say in this situation.
WWPED. What would Pete Evans do?
They're the only people I trust, Chris, TV celebrity chefs.
Dr. Bashir explained that oral supplements takes anywhere from 15 minutes to an hour to be fully absorbed by the liver. Vaping melatonin can access your lungs and bloodstream instantly, and typically these pens offer a lot more melatonin than the body is used to. And I'm not hearing a bad thing yet. And this is just making me think that maybe, can I vape Panadol? That would be sweet.
Well, I'm sure every person who menstruates wishes they could vape Panadol when they're on their period.
I had a bit to drink last night, so I would love to vape some aspirin, baby.
Vaping ibuprofen when you're on your period.
Why is that not... we live in a patriarchal society because that doesn't exist.
Absolutely.
Too much of a good thing can definitely be a bad thing, Dr. Mishir said. Is this too much melatonin? There is no research to effectively say yes or no. That should serve as a warning to users. Fucking narc.
Bloody narc. Ruining our fun.
Bottom line, if you're struggling to sleep, it's always best to check in with your doctor instead of trying to treat the problem on your own. If you're a nerd, whatever.
that is if you trust someone just because they've studied that subject for 20 years of their life, Chris, you would trust them?
That's like when someone was like, Chris, you seem like you have a lot of emotional problems. You should go to therapy. And I'm like, I already am. I'm watching Community reruns. Like, is that not...
Is that not the same thing?
Is that not... It's just that, but for free.
Right, exactly.
Do you have any more stories to close us out, Alison?
Yeah, depends what we really want to go in here. Do we want to end on animals? Do we want to end on like a little bit more anger and weirdness? Do we want to end on...
I want anger and weirdness because last week was big animals, and I would like to
let's go anger and weirdness.
This week, no animals.
Let's go weird corporate decision making as my theme for this week, basically.
Okay.
So...
Give me that shit straight through a vape pen so it goes right into my bloodstream, baby.
Right. So this one, this is getting a little bit topical here. So I'm reading from SBS News, an actual quality news site.
Yes.
Very good. Let me just read the story, and then we can figure out why this is wild. Skin whitening creams face a racism reckoning in the wake of the Black Lives Matter movement. So you know what skin whitening products are, yeah?
I know. I mean, I can.
Yeah.
I feel like I can tell based on the title.
They're very popular in South Asia and Southeast Asia.
Yes.
They're just products that, have bleach in it, essentially, to help...
It's an anti-sun.
Right, to help whiten people's skin, which is not great, and it's not really safe that much either, but anyway, whatever.
Are you telling me, Alison, that my body doesn't like bleach?
So, that you probably shouldn't bleach your skin.
Crazy, because I've been vaping bleach a lot lately, and I've been feeling pretty sick, so maybe I should stop that.
Maybe see what Pete Evans would say about that first, Chris.
I'll check in with my good friend Pete Evans.
I'm sure, perhaps it might stop the coronavirus, according to good old Donald Trump.
Well, I mean, that's why I'm doing it, is because I don't want the Roni.
Anyway, so the Unilever, who manufactures a lot of these products then, Chris, has decided that, okay, people are kind of talking a lot about race issues now, and maybe our product that we're making profit from for people who, have faced persecution or faced judgment for the colour of their skin, and now they want to look more pale for whatever reason. We're benefiting from that. We're profiting from that with our product. So maybe that's not a good thing. I'm going to read their decision, what they've decided to do, Chris.
I am on the edge of my seat.
Okay. Renewed global discussions about racism have led manufacturers to reconsider about how they brand their products, some of which have faced criticism for years.
Just before we continue, what they've essentially said is people reminded us that racism exists, so we decided to finally do something about it.
But let's see what they decide to do about that, Chris.
I have a hunch it's not going to be a lot.
Skin whitening creams are the latest products to come under the microscope as companies across the world face a reckoning in the wake of the newly galvanised Black Lives Matter movement. By the way, Black Lives Matter. The death in custody of George Floyd at the hands of police in Minneapolis last month gave new life to the anti-racism movement and has led to global debates about racial inequality. British-based consumer goods company Unilever this week announced it would rename its Fair and Lovely cream, which is sold across Asia, to remove references to whitening or lightening on the label. Why don't we just
call it like the Little Bo Peep Nazi cream or something like that?
In a statement, Sunny Jane, Unilever's president of beauty and personal care, acknowledged the product suggested a singular ideal of beauty. However, some have criticised Unilever for declining to remove the products entirely. This is what one person says. I cannot see how this does anything apart from damage the brand and make it look greedy, when it has been pointed out repeatedly how this product makes them fuel and profit colorism and oppression, British writer Paula Bell said on Twitter. 2 separate petitions urging Unilever to cull the Fair and Lovely range have been signed by more than 18,000 people over the last few weeks. Anyway, Chris.
What are they going to rename it? Have they said what? Is it going to be renamed to, like, just as fair and lovely as everyone else cream? Like, what is it? Or are they just going to...
Chris, I don't know.
Are they going to call it This Is Not Racist cream?
This is the thing that's baffling, is clearly if you've decided that maybe our product isn't a great look, and then you've decided, here's what we're going to do. We're just going to rename the product. You've made it kind of worse for yourself because there you're acknowledging that maybe your product is problematic whilst refusing to take it off shelves.
Like, if I sell clan robes, I can't rebrand them as, like, cool dressing gowns and just be fine. You know?
You're still selling clan robes that people are still going to use to attend their clan rallies.
Exactly. People are still going to... Maybe we could just, like, defund the police instead of this. Just, like, that's my 2 cents.
Yeah.
Is maybe instead of renaming the racist cream, we could just, like, fix the problem, maybe.
Yeah.
Just, like,
and
do something of use.
There's some statement from Johnson & Johnson and Unilever here. It says,
I find the name Johnson & Johnson inherently funny, but please continue.
It is pretty funny. Conversations over the past few weeks highlighted that some product names or claims on our dark spot reducer products represent fairness or white as better than your own unique skin tone, Johnson & Johnson said in a statement. That was never our intention. Healthy skin is beautiful skin.
Do they have light spot remover products?
I don't know. I do like how they're trying to imply here that the product is intended to be used to remove, like, freckles and stuff, as opposed to...
But you just know that some shop person has called a black person a dark spot at some point.
Oh, God, that's very racist.
Yeah, like, that's happened, though.
Yikes. Anyway, look... This is very definition of when products try to do something that they think, maybe this is a problem, but let's not actually address the problem in any meaningful way. Let's just change the name.
Yes. How can we fix everything without having to do anything?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, God.
Minimal work for minimal cancellation is the goal.
Yeah, basically. That's all there is really to this one. Look, if you want to actually do something to support, movements, Unilever, you've got to, I'd imagine you've got a fair bit of money.
Just pick a charity. There's loads of them.
Pick a cause. Pick a cause and put your money to that.
But
or
see,
just get
Alison,
rid of this product,
They
Get rid of this product.
But some of their shareholders, they were going to, but then, like, a couple of the shareholders were like, oh, actually, you do owe me just a smidgen of that all dividends.
The profits you're making off racism, you need to give to me, please.
So if you could undo all of that shit.
It's like, yeah, that colonialism thing that really probably isn't quite that good in hindsight.
But here, it's really good for me is the problem.
It is making us a little bit of money, those colonial attitudes that we kind of enforced in people. We've got to keep rolling in the cash of that while we can. Let's just put a different name on the packet.
Like, yeah, dude,
So maybe how there's, like, all the racist statues that people are tearing down, perhaps what they should do, if they want to take the Unilever solution, is instead of the name of whatever Confederate general it was, you can just say, cool old man with beard, and that's the name of the statue now. The Unilever
so
solution.
just sort of have the statues just become a description of what's on the...
Of what it is, yeah. It's not actually, like, we're not gonna put the name of the man on it. We'll change the name of the general.
An elderly gentleman with coat.
Yeah, elderly gentleman with funny hat. They will put...
My favourite statue ripping down thing is when they took there was a person on horseback and they took the person off and then they just replaced the sign and painted over it horse. That was my favourite one because I think we need more statues of horses.
Just celebrate the horse, yeah, exactly.
Horses have done so much for our species, and what do we give them back?
Well, they really have. We make statues of them, but only with humans sitting on their backs. So
yeah, maybe
it's about time we liberate the horses.
Not to get a little bit Peter on ourselves, but I think maybe we just need to figure out which animals we as a species have fucked the most. Like, statue of a big chicken, Like, they've earned it.
I mean, I probably wouldn't be surprised if there's a town somewhere in Australia where there is a statue of a big chicken.
We are the least racist country because we have statues. No, I'm not going to say that. It's not true.
Oh, we're a very racist country here in Australia. It's very not ideal.
We
But
do have a big
if you wanna
statue of a
take
sheep,
the-
though, so that's something.
Let's take the Unilever solution to all our racism, and what we'll do is we won't change anything, we'll just rename it.
We'll rename it not racism.
Yeah, exactly. We'll rename it. You know, the detention centres that our country locks refugees in, let's just rename them Fun Play Centre.
Adult daycare.
Fucking hell. Oh, Chris, it's probably
Daycare
about time we wrap this up.
We can call it Daddy Daycare.
Shit. Yeah.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. You can find us on Twitter or Instagram at Red Menace Cast, or on Facebook at the Red Menace Podcast. You can find our merchandise on tpublic.com. Don't smoke weed. Instead, you should grind up various herbs and vegetables and then dry those in the sun and smoke those.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what we're advocating for here.
Black Lives Matter. Defund the police. Please keep listening to us and also listening to people who are more important than us. Yeah. That's
all we have to say.
Lizards Unite. I say that, right? That's the thing I say?
That's what you say now. That's what we say.
Yeah.
All right.
Good luck and good night. Goodbye.
Bye.